The Holy Metropolitan Cathedral Church of St. Mary the Real of Almudena, known simply as the Almudena Cathedral, is a cathedral of Catholic worship, dedicated to the Virgin Mary under the invocation of Almudena, and the Episcopal seat of Madrid. Built very close to the site of the previous and very old church of Santa Maria de la Almudena, which itself was built on a mosque, the cathedral is dedicated to the Virgin of Almudena, patron saint of Madrid. The name of this virgin and cathedral derived from the Arabic word Almudena, meaning citadel. The cathedral is located in the historic center of the city of Madrid. The main facade faces the Royal Palace, while the facade of the transept faces Balin Street, and access to the crypt is via the Cuesta de la Vega, at the end of Calle Mayor. Unlike most Christian temples, which are oriented east-west, the cathedral has a north-south orientation, as a result of its conception as an integral part of the Royal Palace complex. The cathedral is the main temple of the Archdiocese of Madrid, seat of the Archbishop and the Metropolitan Chapter. It is a building 102 meters long and 73 meters high, built from the end of the 19th century to the end of the 20th century, in different architectural styles: neoclassical on the outside, neo-Gothic on the inside, and neo-Romanesque in the crypt. It was consecrated on June 15, 1993 by Pope St. John Paul II during his 4th trip to Spain. History: stone sculpture of the Virgin of Almudena, in a niche on the Cuesta de la Vega. According to tradition, this was the place where the image was miraculously found after the Muslim invasion. According to legend, when King Alfonso VI of Leon conquered Madrid in 1083 and expelled the Muslims, he became obsessed with finding a valuable icon of the Virgin Mary that had been hidden centuries before within the walls of the citadel for safekeeping. Unable to locate the missing figure, Alfonso VI devoted himself to prayer until a section of the walls collapsed, revealing the image, still illuminated by the candles with which it had been buried centuries before. The site of the miraculous and legendary event is marked outside the cathedral by a niche containing a statue of the Virgin. The origins of the Almudena Cathedral can be traced back to the small church of Santa Maria de la Almudena, of late medieval origin, which was located a few meters from the current cathedral, which stands, according to recent excavations, on the site of the Jewish quarter of Madrid. For centuries there were attempts to give greater grandeur to the aforementioned parish, attempts that became more intense with the consolidation of the empire and with the establishment of the seat of the court in the town. According to a report from 1567, for the universal good of the town and its land, it is important and greatly needed that a cathedral church and bishopric be built there. However, the town belonged to the Archdiocese of Toledo, the former capital of the Visigothic Hispanic Kingdom, which always opposed losing its ecclesiastical capital. Thus, attempts were made to expand and reform the small church of Santa Maria until its disappearance in 1868, when it was demolished to widen Calle Mayor. Finally, the need to build a new church arose to accommodate the worship of the patron saint of Madrid. On April 4, 1883, King Alfonso XII laid the first stone of the new building, which would be the future Cathedral of Madrid, on land that, through the mediation of Queen Maria de las Mercedes de Orleans, a great devotee of the Virgin of Almudena, was ceded by the royal heritage in 1879. The final boost for its construction was the creation of the Diocese of Madrid-Alcalá, by means of a papal bull given by Leo XIII on March 7, 1885. While the cathedral was being built, the old Jesuit church of the Imperial College, which at that time was considered a collegiate church, under the patronage of Saint Isidore, became the cathedral temple of the new diocese. In 1964, Casimiro Morcillo received the title of archbishop, and the Diocese of Madrid-Alcalá was elevated to the rank of archdiocese. This archdiocese was renamed the Archdiocese of Madrid in 1991, with the restoration of the Diocese of Alcalá de Henares. The architect Francisco de Cubas, in charge of the project, reformed his initial project as a parish church, proposing an imposing neo-Gothic cathedral that followed the prevailing fashion in Europe under the influence of Viollet-le-Duc. Navascues described it as the most important neo-medieval project in 19th century Spanish architecture. Construction work began on the crypt, built in neo-Romanesque style, with independent access via the Cuesta de la Vega and opened for worship in 1911, once completed by Enrique Maria Repulles y Vargas. The first pillars were erected at the same time. After the break of the Civil War, the mayor of Madrid at the time, José Moreno Torres, commissioned the architect Luis Mostero to resume the works and, once again, important disagreements arose over the architectural style. The work was practically abandoned until 1950, when Fernando Chueca Goitia and Carlos Sidro won the competition for the completion of the works. The appearance of the temple then changed, since, although the Gothic style of the original project for the interior of the cathedral was maintained, the exterior would now be neoclassical, which is the appearance it maintains today. In this way, the cathedral would better integrate with the surroundings of the royal palace. Original project by Francisco de Cubas. The works continued until they were halted in 1965, due to a lack of funds and support from the Madrid City Council. Almost 20 years passed until, in 1984, a board of trustees was created that obtained the support of public and private institutions to complete the works. The cathedral was consecrated by Pope John Paul II on June 15, 1993, taking over from the Collegiate Church of San Isidro, which had been the provisional cathedral of Madrid since 1885. Since its opening, the cathedral has been closely linked to religious events of the Spanish royal family. On November 8, 2000, Queen Maria de las Mercedes of Orleans, the first wife of Alfonso XII, was buried in the funeral chapel, under the altar of the Virgin, a great promoter of the works and whose mortal remains had remained in the monastery of El Escorial until the completion of the cathedral temple. On May 22, 2004, the wedding of King Felipe VI, then Prince of Asturias, with Letizia Ortiz was celebrated. It was the first royal wedding in the capital in 98 years. It was celebrated before more than 1,200 guests, including representation from all the royal houses of Europe. In 2005, an exhibition on the Immaculate Conception in Spain was held, organized by the Las Edades del Hombre Foundation. On August 20, 2011, Benedict XVI became the second pope to visit the cathedral, where he presided over and celebrated a Mass with seminarians as part of the event scheduled for the 26th World Youth Day. The Almudena Cathedral is often the setting for some state ceremonies. It has been the setting, among many others, for the state funerals of former Presidents Leopoldo Calvo Sotelo in 2008 and Adolfo Suarez in 2014. The Almudena Cathedral is one of the most recently built Spanish cathedrals, along with the Cathedral of San Cristobal de la Laguna in Tenerife and the Cathedral of Mary Immaculate in Vitoria. Materials. The ashlars of the plinth and the bases of the columns were made of dolomitic stone, dolomicrite, that came from the town of Bides, in the province of Guadalajara. 15. The facade, with white tones and pink veins, is made with veined micritic limestone from Portugal, and the most ornamental part of the doorway is made with an oolitic limestone also from Portugal. 15. From 1911 onwards, work continued with a limestone from Novelda, province of Alicante, which has cream tones. 15. The main doorway, with its two towers, is made of granite from Zarzalejo, in the community of Madrid. The only granite columns in the temple, located between the two towers of this main facade, come from the quarries of the Madrid municipalities of El Bolo, Suscida, and Mata El Pino, where its stonemasons extracted this granite rock and sculpted them in the 1950s. Description. Abroad, perhaps the most striking element on the outside of the cathedral is the dome, which is double, Gothic when seen from the inside, but with Baroque reminiscences on the outside. It has an octagonal drum in which 4 large thermal holes open and a small lantern as a crown. The roof is made of dark slate. Acting as pinnacles, there are 12 statues representing the apostles: St. Philip, St. Bartholomew, St. Matthew, St. Simon, St. Jude Thaddeus, St. James the Lesser, St. Matthias, St. Barnabas, St. Peter, St. James the Greater, St. John, and St. Andrew. They are the work of the sculptor Luis Sanguino. Main facade. Night view. The main facade, facing the Plaza de la Armeria, is located at the foot of the temple and looks towards the south face of the royal palace. It consists of a large double colonnade portico, with the lower floor of Tuscan inspiration and the upper floor of Ionic order. This neoclassical ensemble was finished off after the consecration of the cathedral by a Baroque niche, sheltering an image of the Virgin of Almudena. 4 statues were also placed, the work of the sculptor Ramon Chaparro, representing 4 Spanish saints: San Isidro Labrador, Santa Maria de la Cabeza, Santa Teresa de Jesus, and San Fernando, made of white stone from Colmena de Oreja. On the balcony, a 10 square meter stained glass window depicting the Virgin of Lis, and 4 statues representing the 4 evangelists by the sculptor José Luis Pérez. 2 large shields, also executed by the sculptor Pérez, are located at the bottom of the towers, representing the full arms of the Spanish royal house and the shield of the Pope who consecrated the cathedral, John Paul II. At the ends of the facade, in 2 niches, 2 bronze statues of St. Peter and St. Paul, the work of Juan de Avalos. Crowning the niches, 2 reliefs, the delivery of the keys to St. Peter and the conversion of St. Paul. The doors are made of bronze. The central one has decorations with the Trinitarian theme, commemorating the Jubilee of the year 2000. One of the side doors refers to the monarchy of Spain, with effigies of the kings of the Reconquista. The other is dedicated to Latin America. They are the work of the sculptor Sanguino. Of the 2 towers on this facade, the one on the right is known as Mariana or de los Gallegos, since the bells were donated by Galicians, and each of them has a traditional Marian devotion: Santa Maria la Real de la Almudena, Santa Maria de la Paloma, Santa Maria de Atacha, and Santa Maria de la Flor de Lis. In the tower on the left, which faces Balin Street, is the Carillon, made in Saldana, Palencia, as are the bells Benedicta and Silla Domini, Magnificat and Grazia Plena. 16. Facade of Balin. Bronze door. This facade is the one used daily for access to the cathedral. It corresponds to the eastern part of the temple's transept, overlooking Balin Street. In the design of this facade, a certain eschurial influence can be seen in its monumentality and nakedness, only broken by the monumental bronze doors. These are also the work of the sculptor Sanguino. The left side door represents the discovery of the Virgin of Almudena by King Alfonso VI of Leon in 1085. The central door commemorates the day of the consecration of the cathedral by Pope John Paul II on June 15, 1993, with images of King Juan Carlos I and Queen Sofia, Maria de la Mercedes, the king's mother, and the then Archbishop of Madrid, Angel Suquia. Finally, the right side door illustrates the procession of the Virgin of Almudena on November 9th, her feast day, through the streets of Madrid. It depicts Cardinal Archbishop Antonio Maria Rucco Varela and the most emblematic monuments of the city. The decoration is completed with 2 statues of Saint Joachim and Saint Anne, parents of the Virgin Mary, placed in niches at the top of the facade, both the work of José Luis Pérez. In front of this facade, a plaza serves as a large atrium. It is commonly known as Plaza de Juan Pablo II, due to the statue of this pope, more than 3 meters high, made by the sculptor Juan de Avalos. The plaza is also decorated with 4 fountains and street lamps in the Ferdinand style. It is accessed by an imperial staircase and side ramps. The entire complex is enclosed by railings, crowned by bronze statues of Saint Anthony Mary Claret, Saint Ignatius of Loyola, and Saint John of Avila, the work of the sculptor Consuelo Perea. Inside. Interior, towards the presbytery. The cathedral has a Latin cross plan, consisting of a central nave and 2 side naves, a wide transept with 3 naves, a curved head with an ambulatory and 5 radial chapels. The exterior of the cathedral, in an eclectic style in which neoclassical and Baroque lines predominate, contrasts with the interior, which follows the patterns of the neo-Gothic style, including polychrome stained glass and a triforium. Much of the liturgical furniture also follows this style. The table of the main altar is made of green marble and is located in the center of the transept. To the right of it is the episcopal chair, with Gothic lines, carved in walnut in 1885. Behind the main altar, the presbytery is presided over by a sculpture of Christ crucified, in Baroque style, the work of the famous Cordoban sculptor Juan de Mesa, 1583 to 1627, made in 1620, and which, like the choir stalls, comes from the Collegiate Church of San Isidro, for which it was commissioned by the Imperial College. It is a key work of Spanish Baroque sculpture, despite the fact that it had to be restored after the damage suffered during the Spanish Civil War. The Virgin of Almudena, patron saint of the city, has her altar in the transept of the right nave, opposite the entrance on Balin Street. It is a raised altar, which is accessed by two side stairs with bronze railings. The original sculpture, representing the Virgin with the Child in her arms, is a carved in polychrome wooden image in Gothic style. It is placed in the central niche of a valuable altarpiece, made by Juan de Borgoña at the end of the 15th century. It is made up of 18 panels representing scenes from the life of Jesus and Mary with pleasant colors. The masonry and the predella are modern works in neo-Gothic style. The image of the Virgin is raised on a silver pedestal from the 17th century, with candlesticks and lights of the same material and period, donated by the city of Madrid. Under the lowered arch formed by the stairs is the tomb of Queen Maria de las Mercedes, wife of Alfonso XII, who died in 1878. Her remains were moved there in 2017, fulfilling the sovereign's wish to be buried at the feet of the Virgin. In the transept space, preceding the staircase, there is an excellent sculpture representing the fall of Jesus with the cross, known as Christ of Mercy. It is a Baroque dress sculpture of intense realism and true polychromy, attributed to Juan Martínez Montañez. Towards the opposite side there is another masterpiece of Baroque imagery, a Christ tied to the column, a work by the Neapolitan sculptor Giacomo Colombo, signed and dated on the pedestal in the year 1698. At the beginning of the ambulatory is the Chapel of the Blessed Sacrament, reserved for Eucharistic adoration, which is the focus of attention in the chapel with a modern tabernacle monstrance. The sculpture of the Virgin of the Mount, a medieval Gothic sculpture from the 13th century, is also worshipped in this chapel. At the intersection with the transept, on the epistle side, there is a large painting, which for some time presided over the main altar of the cathedral, representing the preparations for the crucifixion. It comes from the now disappeared Madrid convent of the Capuchins of Patience, and is the work of the painter Francisco Ricci, 1651, highlighting the somber, tense, and lively atmosphere that presides over the painting, described with agile brushstrokes. It is a key work of Spanish Baroque painting, and one of the most outstanding of those kept in the temple. 19 at the foot of this canvas, an excellent recumbent Christ by the sculptor Juan de Avalos, of vigorous anatomy. In the arm of the opposite transept, you can see an altarpiece of painted panels in the Gothic style, a work of the 15th to 16th centuries, attributed to Juan González de Becerril. The central chapel of the ambulatory is dedicated to Saint Isidro Labrador and his wife, Saint Maria de la Cabeza, whose images, Baroque polychrome carvings attributed to Juan Villabril Huayron, 17th to 18th centuries, flank the funerary ark from the 13th century, which for a time contained the incorrupt remains of the saint, currently kept in the Collegiate Church of San Isidro. The ark is a unique work of medieval art, with various painted scenes depicting passages from the life of the saint, central and lateral nave. Interior of the dome. The roof of the central nave, unlike the side ones that follow the Gothic scheme, simple cross vault, is solved by means of an ingenious solution of hollowed concrete, which allowed to reduce costs and work. The pictorial decoration of this structure is geometric in character, the work of the painter José Luis Galicia, within a style that recalls the traditional Mudejar coffered ceilings, especially in the profuse use of gold leaf and contrasting ranges of colors. The dome, painted by the same artist, has as its motif the four elements, earth, sea, fire, and air, in its four vertices, which support the celestial vault. The chapels and the side naves are dedicated to contemporary saints. Saint José María Escrivá de Balaguer, decorated with reliefs and sculptures of the saint by Venancio Blanco. Saint Maria Michaela of the Most Holy Sacrament. Blessed Mariana of Jesus, a Mercedarian born in Madrid. Saint Maravillas of Jesus, a Discalced Carmelite from Madrid. Saint Angela of the Cross. Saint Vincent Delaware Paul, and Saint Louise de Marillac. Saint Pedro Poveda, Saint Maria Soledad Torres Acosta, and Saint Maria Josefa of the Heart of Jesus. All of them are organized and decorated with images and furniture in a contemporary style, for the most part. At the foot of the temple are the penitential chapel and the baptismal chapel, the latter with a simple black marble font and a notable sculpture of Saint John the Baptist, the work of Robert Michel, from the 18th century. Next to the main sacristy is the chapel of John Paul II, inaugurated by Cardinal Osaro, November 13, 2022. The cathedral organ, located in the upper choir at the foot of the church, was built by the organ builder Gerhard Grenzing and is an exceptional piece. It consists of 4 keyboards plus a pedal keyboard and has mechanical and electrical couplings. The keyboard of the outer chambers has 16 lines of pipes. The largest has 11 lines. 21 lines of pipes are for the expressive keyboard, 9 for the trumpet, and the pedal adds 13 more lines. Stained glass windows and paintings of the apse. On April 28, 2004, Cardinal Rucco Varela, Archbishop of Madrid, blessed the paintings and stained glass windows that decorate the apse of the cathedral. They were commissioned from the religious and artist Kiko Arguello. The murals depict, from left to right, the baptism, the transfiguration, the crucifixion, Christ Pantocrator, the resurrection, the ascension, and the descent of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. In the center of the composition, presiding over the entire cathedral, is the image of the Pantocrator, represented as Jesus at his second coming. On the open book held by the Pantocrator is written, "Love your enemies. I am coming soon." These paintings are reminiscent in their general style of traditional icons of Orthodox churches, with a contemporary touch in the details. Above the paintings, there are 7 stained glass windows dedicated to the Word of God, with its name in different languages: Latin verbum, Greek logos, Hebrew daber, Syriac malak, Russian slovo, and Spanish palabra. In the center, the name of Mary, the cathedral's patronage. The stained glass windows, not being figurative, create a balance between the painted figures, the chromaticism of the stained glass, and that of the ceiling in a synthesis of tradition and modernity. However, the ensemble has been controversial, questioning the aesthetic taste and the originality and relevance of the same. 2122. Crypt. Columns of the crypt. The crypt of the Almudena was the first structure built in the cathedral. It was erected in neo-Romanesque style, with access from the Cuesta de la Vega side. It was opened for worship in 1911, when it was completed by the architect Enrique Maria Rapuls, who is buried there. It contains a 16th century image of the Virgin of the Almudena. Its more than 400 columns stand out, crowned with capitals, all of them different, evoking biblical figures and motifs of nature, as well as the figure of the bear and the strawberry tree, the symbol of Madrid. Its facade has medieval references, with a triple door with a semicircular arch. It is presided over by an image of the Almudena, next to the Heart of Jesus and San Isidro, sheltered by an ambulatory. It has 5 naves, and on either side, 18 chapels. Artists such as Ben Liur, in the reliefs, or Malmagian, with stained glass windows that illuminate the chapels, have intervened in them. The decoration of the chapels mixes mosaics of Byzantine tradition, reliefs and images of classical proportions, as well as Gothic-style stained glass. The votive lamps on the ceiling are inspired by the Guerreser treasure, found in Toledo in the mid-19th century.